Welcome to another episode of AW Classroom. You already know who it is. It's Chiara Cristina Ventura coming to you live from Miami. I am here for the wonderful week of art. There's a lot of things happening right now in Miami. There's Art Basel, there's Untitled Art Fair, there's NADA. There's so many events and music and DJs and food and drinks and mix and mingling. And I just came here on this trip with the intention of soaking in all the art from the art fairs and shows and just having conversation. I think it's really beautiful to see everyone in Miami. I'm so used to seeing everyone in New York, and it's so cold over there right now, but it's just nice to see everyone in the sun living their life and living their best art life. Yeah, so for this episode we're going to be focusing on some interviews that I did during the NADA art fair. If you don't know what NADA is, NADA stands for the New Art Dealers Alliance. So here we see a lot of the younger galleries of the art world. We see a lot of younger artists, emerging artists, new talent, just artists whose careers are going up and we should all keep an eye on. And this is a great place to buy their work and support, but also just see people's works in person. This is a beautiful thing about art fairs, is that I'm so used to seeing a lot of work on Instagram, especially if the artist isn't in New York. And it's just nice to have access to see the work in person and meet the gallery owners. I also went because I had some homies that were a part of the art fair, which you're going to hear from also in this episode. So enjoy these interviews. I had such a great time talking to everyone, and I hope y'all just get inspired from everyone's work. In this episode, I had the pleasure of doing various interviews with gallerists and artists participating in NADA Miami this year. So in order, I interviewed Danny Baez, the owner of Regular Normal Gallery, Melissa Joseph, who showed with Regular Normal. Then I interviewed Jeffery Meris, who showed with Fragment Gallery. Next, I spoke with Dominique Clayton of Dominique Gallery. Then I interviewed Amber Ahmad, who showed with Tone Gallery. Then I interviewed Anthony Akimbola, who showed with False Flag Gallery. And the last two interviews are with Shayla Mitchell, the owner of Shayla Mitchell Gallery. And lastly, I interviewed Graham Wilson, who is the owner of Swivel Gallery, and Vyczie Dorado, who showed with Swivel Gallery. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get into these interviews. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're presenting here?
Hi, my name is Danny Baez. I am the founder of Regular Normal. We are on our first ever Miami fair, and we are presenting a solo booth by Melissa Joseph, an artist based in New York City, originally from Pennsylvania, and most of the works are like textile works based on memories and photos of her family. Melissa is half Indian, half Irish, and this is a way for her to go into a portal and kind of like connect with those memories, bring it back and understand where she comes from.
Amazing. And what made you gravitate towards her work and showing it here in Miami?
Well, when we met maybe a year and change ago, for the first time I went to a studio, I asked her if she was working with anybody. She said no at the moment, as if she was sending works, and she like very few. And I was in disbelief that nobody would take a chance on her, like in that way, because she already been showing works, but it wasn't like that constant. So her energy, the way she was about herself and how she presented the work, gave me like some kind of feeling inside to ask her to work together, and that's why I thought she was my first artist like signed to the gallery. So I felt like that my first time to do this would be ideal to do with Melissa.
Yeah, and also the work is like so unique.
It's unique. It's the best. It's
So much
meticulous. It's
texture.
laborious, and it's beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kiara.
Okay, so I'm here with Melissa Joseph, who's showing with Regular Normal. I'm looking at these works, and they're just so exciting because, I don't know, I just want to sleep with them. Like, I want to like wrap myself in them with all the cozy textures, but I'm also getting the themes of family and home. Can you talk more about the works that you're presenting here today and like the themes that you're talking about?
Absolutely. So I always start with family photos from my family photo archive. My dad came from India and his whole family stayed there. So we spent a lot of our childhood looking through photos of our relatives kind of to stay connected to them. There was no internet or FaceTime or anything like that. So I have this already history of going through photos always. And now it's sort of translated into going through my photo library on my phone. Whenever I have downtime, I just sort of scroll through and revisit and different things come through the photos at different times, and something will, like, the photos will pick me. They'll say, like, it's my turn to become a felt, and when it happens, I know right away, and I start to make them. And so the felt is really beautiful because it allows you can be really versatile with it. You can use it like watercolor. You can be really specific, like you're drawing like with a pencil. And so I get to control kind of which parts are articulated and which parts are blurry or dissolving or disappearing. And it's just, it really lends itself well to memory, because sometimes memories, we have some parts specific, some parts are blurry. And it just really gives me like this ability to share the feelings or the ideas that I'm trying to communicate, which are, universal. I want people to feel my work like in their heart or in their stomach, in their chest. Like, I want it to hit you there. So, and I want them to recognize something familiar from their own life in it. And so something about the felt is inviting, and it puts people in a space where they're able to access those spaces. And I hope, and that's kind of the show.
Yeah, it's so crazy because you're like saying the word felt as a medium, but it's so like, I don't know, for some reason symbolically I was just like I felt feeling. Yeah. Maybe that's like another connection.
It really
I don't know.
Is. No, it's all about feelings for me. So.
And then also I'm wondering what drew you to this medium, because like I'm here walking through the fair, and naturally, even if I knew your work or not, like your work is so unique because this is a really unique medium that you're working with. What drew you to working with felt?
It's funny, I think, again, like with many things in my life and all of the things that turn out well, it's like something calls me and I answer this call. So I saw someone working in this medium in the back of the Textile Arts Center one day when I was there for a residency, but we didn't get to learn this process. But I was really, I was captivated by it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I eventually asked what it was and could I take a class, but COVID happened and they canceled all the classes. So I had to teach myself from YouTube because like there was this pull. I needed to know this thing. I needed to know it. So, and as soon as I started doing it, it was like, oh yes, this is the closest thing to a native language I've ever experienced in art making. It's like I am home here, and since I've started, I just keep pushing it. Like, the thing is, when you understand something so innately, you can push it all over the place. You can take it to all these crazy places because you understand the core. And so I have this like freedom with this material that I don't have with other mediums. Like, I can be sort of competent with them, but I'm not. It's like being not fluent with the language. It's like I speak really ugly Italian. Like, people will understand, but it's not going to be pretty. But I can like do poetry with this language, And so for me, it's never gets boring. You can always take it somewhere else, and so that's why this material for me. But I am surprised more people aren't using it. There are a few out there. There's a girl named Michaela Young. There's a guy named Marlon Wobes. There are a few artists who are working with felt, but not enough, and I don't know why, because it really does feel to me like such a perfect material for feeling. And, and anything textiles obviously like relates to body and people, and I like that relationship.
I think when I see textile work, my mind automatically thinks of like labor,
Oh my God, yeah. I can't believe I didn't mention that. Yeah, of course.
That's my last question is, how much time does it take to make these pieces? Because it seems pretty labor intensive.
Some take longer than others. You'd be surprised how much time I need to just think and look. Like, I make these ceramic encasements, and they sit empty for a long time before I know the image. I just wait. I know it will come, and I just wait. And then once it comes, it's like I work, like it's like Fast and Furious. Yeah. It's like, now I know, now I can just like get it done. But there's a lot of time that you have to kind of sit and think. I've had some of these pieces, and sometimes the same with the photos. I know I want to use the photo, but I don't know when, and so it just hangs out, and eventually it comes to the top of the pile, and it's time, and so yeah, right. So but yeah, so they take, like, some of the bigger ones can take weeks, and then some of the small ones can come fast, and but I tend to work fast. I'm a fast worker once the idea is there.
Nice. Well, congratulations, and thank you so much.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yay. Jeffrey, can you tell me a little bit about what you're presenting today?
I'm presenting one sculpture called High Heel that comes out of a series of sculptures called Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And the sculpture is a cast of my feet that's mounted on the top of a steel armature and is cranked by hand. The sculpture pulverizes, and that becomes two other drawings. I used to be 15 and 16 that are mounted on a PVC board, and I'm also showing a single painting called Skin versus Shirts 1 that's made out of rags that have been soaked in acetic acid and used to clean up rust, which is stretched in the format of a painting.
And what themes are you talking about in these works?
I'm really thinking about the politics of visibility and representation. I'm thinking about the body. I'm thinking about space and architecture. I'm really thinking about larger architectural systems that relate to blackness, such as criminal justice system, but also thinking about athleticism and also the sort of highest standard that black people are often held up to, and really trying to destroy a lot of these myths around blackness, and in some ways at once free blackness from the chokehold of, dare I say, white supremacy, but also thinking about what generative spaces of care and healing would look like for people that look like me.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm here at Dominique Gallery. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're presenting here?
Yes.
Anada?
So I am out here all the way from Los Angeles. I am part of the curated spotlight group of 8 galleries that were selected by Ebony Haynes from David's Runner Gallery in New York.
Amazing.
And it's all solo booth presentations from emerging galleries. And I decided to bring Adi Roberson, who is actually Florida-born, LA-based artist, and her family is of Jamaican descent. So her whole color palette, the images, all the work is reflective of sort of her family, her roots. And as you can see, like the colors here are just bright, beautiful, kind of like the seaside, beachside homes that are just bright painted colors that reflect the sun. And that's her abstract work. And her figurative work are screen prints of her actual family members, her mother, even herself, grandmother, uncles, that she has embellished with some paint on the perimeter. So it's just a really fun colorway that is meant to be bright and vibrant, positive vibes. I wanted to end the year on a very light-hearted note, because I feel like what we've been seeing a lot in black and brown art lately has been very straight on, a little bit melancholy, a little bit too true. Some of it's sad, some of it's trauma-based, which is also very important work. But I think on the flip side of that, there are moments of joy and memory, positive, happy memories of family, of home, of travel, of journey. And I wanted to incorporate that, which is why I even had the booth painted this beautiful lavender color to like make all of the colors of her work pop. So everyone's been really responding well to it, and I'm just so happy. This is Adi's first art fair And this is my first time showing in Miami, so it's a first for both of us. And I'm so proud to be here and to see all these familiar faces and friends. It's great.
Yeah, I feel like looking at the paintings and then like going outside and getting like the Miami tropical vibes.
Yeah.
Like I feel like these paintings just go so well with the environment, or just having a conversation with this kind of like part of the world.
And I love that I'm finding all these connections between LA and Miami too, because I'm LA native. She's from here, so to have us kind of together was just a special collaboration, and I'm so happy that people have been really responding well to the work. We've sold a few pieces already, and this is just the first day.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I'm here with Amber Ahmad, who is presenting with Tone Gallery. And I was just walking through the gallery and I was automatically drawn to their work. So can you just tell me a little bit about yourself and your work?
For sure. My name's Amber Ahmad. I'm born and raised in Memphis. I've been painting pretty much my whole life, but I've just started now focusing in on it and really dedicating time and experimentation to it. And so this is my first solo show I've ever had, and also like the first time I've shown out of Memphis.
Yeah.
So I usually work in acrylic, and I deal with themes about consequence. I parallel fables, like folklore fables, and alchemical symbology that you find in things like tarot cards and other things like that. Yeah, I very much enjoy that. And then this series is called Just Visiting. It's an exploration on my perception of permanence through my home life, through my gender identity, but also through my physical form, and just exploring ideas of transformation and how, like, I feel like I've gone through 3 different Ambers, like, since I've started this work, and like, they're here and gone, and I'm this version now, at least for now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I love that, how the work speaks about, I guess, the multiple versions, the multiple selves and shifts and change. I think that's why, not personally, like, I think that's why I was drawn to the work, because I do tarot. So I was just like, oh wow, like, just to see it in this form, interpreted it, you know, in this way, having that conversation with tarot and like the symbols. I'm seeing like the seated figure. I'm seeing the symbol of like duality and the self.
Yes.
So I'm seeing the Florida water in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Specifically for this one, it's named Scorpion and Frog. I took the name and a lot of the theme from a folktale called the Scorpion and the Frog. Are you familiar with it?
No.
So the story goes like this: the scorpion wants to cross a river, and he finds a frog there, and he's like, take me to the other side. The frog's like, I would, but you would sting me, and then we'll drown. The scorpion's like, no, I won't. And so they get halfway across the river, and the scorpion stings him. He's like, why did you do that? Now we're both going to die. And the scorpion goes, it's in my nature. And so that stuck with me as like a child, and me figuring out, like, am I a good person? Am I a bad person? If I am a bad person, can I change? Was I born like this? And just not really understanding the ways that people can grow and people can heal. And just like looking at this character of the scorpion and it fighting its toxicity, but like being overcame. And so just exploring those things.
Yeah, and also in the painting, it seems like you're cradling the scorpion.
Yeah,
which can be symbolic within itself.
Yeah, initially I was gonna, like, this hand is like that because it was gonna be this long needle piercing through it. But I didn't think that was conducive to the concept if I'm supposed to be doing these healing things. Because this scorpion is representative of me and the things that I'm working on. So am I gonna like approach this from like a brutalist, like hard punishment standpoint, or am I gonna give myself grace through this process that I'm going through, even if I like slip up and give in. And it's interesting that you talk about duality and things, because this purple poster, that symbol on there is called a rebus. It's like one of the symbols in alchemy that they use for like the finishing. It's like a rainbow, a rebus, gold, a phoenix, to kind of put a picture to like the like balance, like this supreme form of balance and like serenity. These two forms coming together to live in unification. And so I'm trying to put all my pieces together and not necessarily have them mesh into one form, so to speak. But just have them all coexist and have them all like comfortably balanced within myself. Because I chose the seating position because of a Frida Kahlo painting with the two Fridas, and they're seated next to each other. And just talking about the duality of that, but then also a lot of the I think particularly the Queen of Cups. She's got her feet on the ground, and then the ocean's like before them to show like grounding, but also these tumultuous waters happening. So, and just using the water as like my spiritual and emotional self, and orientating those in the way like sometimes they're really tumultuous, but then sometimes they're really calm. It's like a personified like indication of my mood in the subjects that I'm going through. So a lot of this has been very, very chaotic and very hard.
Lots of water depicted in the images too. Well, this is amazing. Congratulations! Congrats on your first solo at NADA. This is big.
I appreciate it. It's slowly sinking in.
Take it in. Enjoy it.
I'm learning.
Well, thank you. I'm here with Anthony Akimbola presenting with False Flag in New York. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're presenting today?
So in the booth today, I have a couple of my paintings from my camouflage series. I have a sculpture which consists of two taxidermy animals. One's a taxidermy baby lamb and the other one is a rooster. And then I have a installation that consists of 60 lockers, which viewers can come in and they have an opportunity to pick one of the lockers, which I've loaded with amulets. So some people have been able to win these things and other people haven't, but the booth really kind of gravitates and centers on the idea of like value of objects and the value we ascribe to these things. And I think with the locker installation, the amount of serendipity that has happened with people getting objects that they find personal kind of reinforces that narrative of how we give power to objects.
And what have people been winning?
So some of the objects that people won have been a scorpion, a chicken head, a Black and Mild, stack of leftover ones from Tootsie Strip Club, a lottery ticket, some holy water, a penny, a tree frog, a toad, a rabbit's foot, a horseshoe, a white lighter, amongst many other things. Those are the ones I can think of now.
So this seems like a pretty well curated selection of objects. What drew you to like putting these objects in these mailboxes?
It's interesting because it was pretty random, but also like I know that there is kind of like a cultural understanding of like what we consider right to be a good luck charm or a bad luck charm. So like people getting a white lighter and starting to think about Kurt Cobain versus somebody getting a lucky charm and feeling like, oh, you know, I have good luck is like very interesting for me. So I think I wanted them to be super visceral, and that's why I went with some of the taxidermy things. But I also wanted them to be super mundane, so it's not necessarily about the type or style of object that it is that gives it significance. And like a black pen could be just as important as like a pair of beaver paws,
Yeah.
which are also in these lockers.
Cool. Yeah, I think this was. I feel like it's an installation, but it's also a performance. It's what's the word? Relational aesthetics.
Yeah, I really like it as a game. You know, I feel like it's a game I've been able to kind of open up to the audience, and you know, there's been a lot of participation and fun, and for me, that's like, this is a great platform to experiment with that.
Cool. Well, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm here with Shayla Mitchell of Shayla Mitchell Gallery based in Washington, D.C. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here today and the artists that you're working with?
Yes, hello. I represent an artist named Celia Racontendraini, and there are two themes that we have at our booth this year. The first one is 12 mini paintings that are 11 by 11 inches that are installed and were painted on canvases to reflect Instagram. And these works speak to body dysmorphia, unrealistic body expectations, but also to censorship of the body. And so, you know, there's some play here where you'll see some body parts that are hidden within the paintings, kind of poking fun at Instagram, as if maybe if I hide the body parts, this post could live, you know, on an Instagram feed. But to get back to the censorship, Instagram's algorithm, we'll just say that for today, is very racist and homophobic and classist. And because of that, you know, they censor, you know, a lot of not only women's bodies, not only men's bodies, but also bodies of work from artists where nudity is included. And nudity and sexuality are not the same. And so with this work, we're trying to differentiate the two. When you shower your body, when you get a massage, it's not necessarily a sexual thing. And so we live in a very hyper-sexualized society that wants to act prude one second and then want to put it out there the next. So she's really kind of speaking to that, and in pushing people to embrace their bodies and all the gushiness and all the curves and all the cuts, and also, you know, kind of sticking it to Instagram, you know, like if, I don't know, if you have influence, maybe you can show your body. If you're a regular degular, maybe you cannot. And so that's what this body of work is about. And then we have a large body of work that is more of Celia's signature work, which is double exposed portraits, painted oil on linen. And Celia is from Madagascar.
Oh, wow.
And and she's also French. And so when I first met Celia, I thought she was Latina. I thought she was Colombian, because that's what she looks like. But, you know, I often speak with her, and sometimes it's like, okay, I'm not French enough to be French. I'm not African enough to be African. And where do you kind of fit in with that? And I feel like even if you're not navigating two cultural identities, sometimes it's yourself with your friends and yourself with your family, yourself at work, yourself outside of work. And I think we're being challenged to not have to have such dual identities. Maybe we should be more welcoming of people as they are. So we don't have to have that, you know, that duality. But the complexity of identity is also beautiful. We are not always one thing, but we shouldn't have to be things to make people comfortable. So that's what the work speaks to. It's colorful, it's bright, and I think people love the booth this year because we had a very dark year, and it just feels good to have some color and just to have some important conversations in a light way.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Through works like this, we could unlearn
and
create new narratives.
I want to tell you all about the intention that we put into our work. We have these frames here that were custom made by a Ghanaian framer in Berlin, Germany.
Oh, wow.
And yes, made with mahogany wood, which mahogany trees grow all over the continent of Africa. So we Have that intention there and wait for it.
Okay.
Finish with shea butter. Please go touch. Yes, he finishes all of his frames with shea butter. So very, very African intentional moment. I want him to come here. Like,
now I want to like smell the work.
Yeah. You have to touch it. If you come to the booth, you can kindly touch a frame. The wood is just so buttery and smooth. Yes. But
shea butter, baby.
Is that the real music?
Yeah. Ari Lennox, where are you?
Yes.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Shayla, and congrats to Celia.
Thank you so much for visiting. Thank you for all of your support always.
Yeah. I love that. I'm here with Graham Wilson of Swivel Gallery. Graham, can you tell us a little bit about your booth and the artists that you're showing here at NADA?
Yes. The booth here features 3 women from our upcoming 2022 program, Ryan Cosbert, Kia Celeste, and Vyczie Dorado. Each artist works in a way that is focused on individualism and mining their own personal interest, as well as navigating their histories and collective histories of their peoples. And so Ryan's Cosbert's paintings typically channel historical black figures to where she, rather than painting them figuratively, she transmits their spirits and their energies into the paintings. Dixie Dorado's paintings, they are all about the body and the morphing of the body and living in sort of this changing world, and so they always typically feature these androgynous figures that are in these spatial environments that sort of don't exist in real time, but have some sort of a hint of our reality at the same time. And then Kia Celeste is the upcoming January solo show, and all of her works are found materials that she manipulates that are all weight balanced sculptures that rely on each other to exist. So, and it's a big comment on sustainability and environment, and in a bigger way, it's a comment on balance in the world, and that like one thing needs another to exist. And so, yeah.
So, I mean, one thing I was thinking about, like, while interviewing people here at NADA today, I was thinking, like, just from the view of, like, a young artist who would want to be shown in something like this and work with a gallerist like you. What is it that, like, drew you to these artists specifically, but also just what are you drawn to in an artist? Like, you are known for like working with young artists, and like what is it that excites you about someone's work?
I think that for me, as an ex-artist, maybe when I see people who, especially people who are specifically working within a set of means and already doing things that are amazing in a way, then I just can really see the potential in the way that if they have the proper infrastructure and navigation to those things, that their work will really excel. That's probably the most valid factor that I see in a way, you know. And I think that also I like artists that are going against the grain, you know, also that are not easy to deal with, that their work is not easy to transport, install, deal with in a way. Those are sort of, I try to find artists that have less opportunities than other artists and try to make it viable.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I think it's also just like a strong point for you as a gallerist to come from the artist's perspective, and I can see how that influences how you curate your programming, and I see that how it comes together.
It does.
Yeah. All right. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And thank you so much.
That's so cool.
Okay. I'm here with Dixie Dorado, who's showing at the Swivel Gallery booth here at NADA. Dixie, can you tell us a bit about the pieces you have here in the booth?
Yeah. I'm going to start with the more recent one, which is Stomach Flora. That work I made, I finished it I guess mid this year. And it was during a period where I was having continuous stomach problems. That's a very big part of my work because it kind of goes into the immunocompromised system that I have, at least, that having stomach issues is a consistent thing. So there was a really bad era of that, and that's where the flower kind of comes in that symbolism. But also I was in the middle of moving when I started this piece. So I started it when I was moving and I finished it while I was having stomach problems. So it has these two different highlighted effects, and that's why there's kind of this almost erased kind of atmosphere that the figure is just kind of vibing in. And this very prominent but also transparent flower that's kind of protruding from him. And that's the main gist of this work. And then a bundle of sticks, aka a fag. That one I made last year, and I was playing more with, specifically this one time I heard The Simpsons, where it's just together as a bundle we form a mighty faggot.
Oh my goodness!
And I know they did that as kind of a jab at that kid character that he's fruity. But also giving the definition, and I don't know, I think about it sometimes authentically, and a bundle of sticks are very strong, and even though it is kind of a dumb joke, and playing with this androgynous figure, and giving him those forms, and thinking about my own childhood and being made fun of in that way, and I know there is kind of a hot button when hearing other people say that word. But in my case, I feel it is appropriate, especially within this work. And then another aspect of it, this was, I think, the third piece I made in the pandemic. So what I really was craving at that time was going outside. It was the biggest thing that I missed, specifically the sensation of a gust of wind just kind of crawling over your skin. That is what I craved the most about going outside. Even though you could open a window and get the same sensation, but there's something about a field of grass and really looking up at the sky that I really missed. So that childlike imagery, and then almost puberty too, that weird in between, are all the influences on that work.
I also wanted to just talk about the characters in your work. Can you tell me a little bit about how you form these figures and what do they represent? Are they representing you, or kind of an imaginary figure? They're these, they started, a lot of them in the beginning have very square eyes. And that influence actually came from this video game that I loved in high school called Katamari Damacy. And all the characters, and I know it's because they're it's a Japanese game. So I'm I hope this isn't weirdly Asian fishing in a way. But I just loved how they decided to do not a circle eye, just a square eye. It reminded me of a goat pupil, how different it was. And that's kind of where the formation of the eyes came from. But these putty surfaces that these forms are usually made out of, and they're half sketch, half fully formed, well rendered forms, is just playing with the idea of kind of clay and paper. So they're malleable, I guess, to me, but also to the viewer. But when I'm making these, I am thinking of myself. And then another weird thing, because this one specifically, the ones that have pupils are different. They're differently they're different entirely. They're not even human. And they register almost as alien to me because they're so weird. Even though that's that would be more human. And that's why I kind of stopped drawing them for a while with pupils. And I don't know if I'm going to continue for a little bit
because they make me feel so weird. Like I feel like I see them.
Okay.
They just register. Maybe they just register too human.
Yeah, I'm just imagining, I guess, from like the artist perspective, like the more and more you create these figures, the more I guess they might become like real to you, or like, I mean, just looking at the drawings and like seeing them, like following your work and seeing how these figures are living, it seems like you're creating a world within your head and like within your work. So I could just imagine like the relationship that you have like, with these figures.
It is very intimate.
Yeah.
Because I also work from home. Like all of these are just from my apartment.
Yeah.
So I like this one was above my bed for a while, the bundle of sticks. And it's kind of weird to not see it in my room. So they like, I feel like within the process of making these, not only is it like the atmosphere that I'm thinking of to keep it intimate, but also just embedding it and like surrounding myself and them being surrounded by me. And it feels just so like it's gonna be rough when somebody gets it. Like I want somebody to get it, but it's just gonna feel like kind of strange.
Yeah, for someone to live with it. But I think you conveyed the figures and this world that you're creating beautifully. So congratulations on showing at Nada. That's big.
I've dreamed about this since high school.
Oh my god.
I was like, I want to be an art Basel so bad.
Like Miami. Like, and it's so crazy when you think of things like when you're younger and you're like, when I do this, I made it. Like, and now you're here.
No,
and
I can't. Now I have a different goal.
Yeah.
I thought that. I was like, damn. Okay.
Yeah. Now it's like, all right, what's next?
What's next?
What's the next
Exactly.
level?
We can't keep it here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
If you made it this far in the episode, thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned new stories. I hope you learned about new galleries you didn't know about, new artists you didn't know about. I had so much fun doing these interviews. Thank you for everyone who participated in the interviews. And I just feel so whole right now, being here in Miami, but still being with my community. I think it's so affirming to know that I have a community, and I just feel so grateful. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting Artsy Window and AW Classroom Podcast. This is the 20th episode. This will be the last episode of the season. Artsy Window will be going through some changes and shifts, and I'll be updating everyone along the way. And continue to support. Please like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.